Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're embarking on a journey into, well, a true literary and spiritual masterpiece, the Masnavi, Book 1, by the 13th century Persian poet and mystic Rumi. You've provided us with some truly rich poetic sources, and our mission, as always, is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from this incredible material. Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to being well informed about the profound wisdom contained within.
Indeed. And we'll be looking at the opening sections today. There's an important dedication, and of course the famous exordium, the Song of the Reed. And you're right, this isn't just beautiful poetry. It's really foundational for understanding Rumi's spiritual philosophy. Offers some surprising insights into, the human soul and our place in the universe. We'll definitely try to connect these ancient verses to personal insights and maybe even some practical life applications.
Okay, fantastic. So get ready, everyone, to dive deep into profound meanings and connect this ancient wisdom to your own life and understanding. So first off, it's quite striking that Rumi begins not with the poem itself, but with this really elaborate dedication. It's not just a quick note, is it? What's the significance of this really reverent opening? What does it tell us about the work we're about to get into?
Yeah, that's a great place to start. What's fascinating here is, like you said, it isn't just a polite nod to a patron or something. It's a profound act of reverence. It's like a cornerstone placed even before the first verse is laid. Rumi dedicates this huge work to his chief in support, Abu Fazl el-Hossam al-Haqwaddin, also known as Hassan ibn Muhammad ibn Hassan Aki Tork. And the language Rumi uses is incredibly rich. It really elevates this individual to, well, a spiritual guide. He describes him as the location of the spirit in my body, my provision for today and for tomorrow, and chief and exemplar for the mystics. This isn't just flattery, It speaks volumes about the deep spiritual bond and the guidance Rumi clearly received from him.
Wow, the location of the spirit in my body. That's intense.
It is, and the scale of the praise is itself an immediate revelation. This person is called leader to certainty and guidance, helper of mankind. Even the key to all the treasures of the Empyrean.
Empyrean.
Yeah, essentially the highest heaven, the source of divine light and knowledge. So it suggests he holds these profound secrets of existence. He's also called a trustee of treasures in this world, too. And his lineage, Rumi describes it as one on which the sun has cast its mantle and before which stars have shone down their bright beams. Just beautiful imagery. And their courtyard. It's called the Qibla of good fortune. Now, a Qibla is the direction Muslims face for prayer, like the Kaaba in Mecca. So saying it's where sons of saints all face hope's Kaaba, that's incredibly powerful stuff. It marks this individual and his lineage as a true spiritual beacon, a sacred point of aspiration.
That immediately sets a very high bar, doesn't it? It really does. So what does this initial dedication signal to us right from the get-go about the kind of journey we're about to embark on as readers? It's clearly not just, a collection of nice verses.
Absolutely. It immediately sets a deeply spiritual, almost devotional tone. The core insight here, I think, is that this work isn't just intellectual or philosophical in some detached way. It's born from a sacred relationship. And it's intended as a guide for, and he says this, those with insight, the divine, the holy, and the spiritual. So it immediately elevates the context for you, the reader. It's inviting you not just to read, but to engage with the text on a profound, maybe even soul-level journey.
Right.
This isn't light entertainment. It's presented as a kind of spiritual roadmap. Rooted in this tradition of deep reverence and seeking divine truth, it emphasizes that the wisdom to follow comes from a place of deep respect and spiritual lineage.
Okay, that makes sense. It frames everything that follows. So understanding that profound context now, let's turn to the poem's very first lines. They are incredibly haunting. Now listen to this reed flute's deep lament about the heartache being apart has meant. What is this reed flute, and why is its song so mournful?
The reed flute. It's such a central and really an essential metaphor in Rumi's work. Literally, it's an instrument made from a reed cut from a plant. But it's also this profound symbol of the human soul, and it laments deeply because it has been uprooted from its reed bed.
It's home.
Exactly, its origin, its true home, which represents its divine origin. So the sound is one of spiritual exiles, an ache that I think might feel familiar to many of us. And this immediately introduces the core theme of separation. It's fundamental to Rumi's philosophy. He says, since from the reed bed they uprooted me, my songs expressed each human's agony. The surprising fact here, maybe, is that this isn't just physical separation like being away from home or someone you love. It's the soul's profound longing, that deep, universal ache to return to its divine source, to its true beloved. When kept from their true origin, all yearn for union on the day they can return. That sentiment, you find it across so many cultures and spiritual traditions, right? That feeling of being a bit lost, a bit out of place, yearning for something you can't quite name.
So the reed's lament isn't just a sound, it's a symbol for well, a universal human ache.
Yeah.
How does Rumi illustrate this feeling of being uprooted in a way that resonates with, everyone, even if they can't quite put their finger on it?
Precisely. It speaks directly to that inherent human ache for wholeness, for understanding our true home. Rumi is suggesting, I think, that this homesickness isn't really for a geographical place. It's for our divine origin. And that profound longing is actually our compass. It's guiding us back. Even when the reed flute is amongst the crowd, sharing its music, it feels alone. It's mourning its fate, its disconnection from its source.
Right.
It expresses that internal solitude we can feel even when we're surrounded by people, if we haven't found that deeper connection or understanding of our true self. The reed flute's lament is essentially the cry of the human spirit yearning for reunification with the divine, a feeling we all experience in different ways. Maybe we call it emptiness or dissatisfaction or just a quest for meaning.
That's powerful, but then the reed flute also mentions a hidden secret. It says, "My deepest secrets in this song I wail, but eyes and ears can't penetrate the veil." That seems like a bit of a contradiction, doesn't it? If the truth is being sung, why can't we perceive it? What is this veil?
Right, it does sound like a paradox. And it points to this profound idea that spiritual truth isn't always immediately obvious, not to our ordinary senses or even just our intellect. The song is there, the truth is present, but its deepest meaning is veiled. Rumi states it quite clearly. Body and soul are joined to form one whole found, but no one is allowed to see the soul. This implies that the essence, the core truth of who we are, and our connection to the divine often remains unseen by our everyday perception.
So the veil isn't external.
Exactly. This veil isn't some physical barrier out there. It's internal. It's our own conditioned ways of seeing, maybe our ego, our worldly distractions, all the things that prevent us from perceiving the profound truths being sung right in front of us. It suggests that a deeper level of listening is needed, an internal capacity that goes beyond just the physical senses to understand the reed's true lament.
So it's more than just hearing the notes.
Much more. It's about feeling the resonance, understanding the source of the pain and the longing. It's about cultivating an inner vision to see beyond the surface, something, let's be honest, we often struggle with in our fast-paced lives.
That really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? How much we might be missing in our daily lives. The deepest secrets could be right there, but our own perception is veiled.
Okay, and this next passage introduces an incredibly potent image, almost a challenge, really. It's fire, not just hot air. The reed flute's cry, if you don't have this fire, then you should die.
Wow. That's quite a statement. What exactly is this fire Rumi is talking about?
It is a strong statement, isn't it? This fire is love. But we need to be careful here. It's not just romantic love as we often think about it. It's a profound, all-consuming spiritual passion. It's divine love, that intense longing for reunion with the divine source that fuels the reed song and, by extension, the human soul's entire journey. Rumi says, love's fire is what makes every reed flute pine. Love's fervor thus lends potency to wine. It's the animating force, the very essence that gives meaning and power to existence. Without this spiritual passion, this inner yearning for truth and connection, life itself is seen as empty, just hot air.
Right, just empty noise.
Exactly. And this love, it isn't just a feeling. It's presented as a powerful, transformative force. He calls it a physician for all kinds of ailments, too, the cure for our conceit and stubborn pride. He even likens it to the combined wisdom of figures like Plato, the great philosopher, and Galen, the foundational physician.
So it heals the mind and the spirit.
Precisely. Rumi is telling us this divine love is both profoundly intellectual, like Plato, and deeply healing for the soul, like Galen. It addresses our spiritual diseases, arrogance, self-centeredness, that sort of thing, much like a skilled doctor treats physical ailment.
It's fascinating how Rumi elevates love from just an emotion to this raw, transformative force. It really makes you wonder how often we confuse maybe superficial attraction with this kind of deep alchemical love he's describing. The poem even says, "Men whose clothes are ripped to shreds by love are cleansed of greed like this to rise above." That's a very visceral image, being ripped apart by love.
It is visceral. And you're right, it's about alchemy. Love is the ultimate agent of spiritual alchemy here. It takes the earthly form, our ordinary self, and allows it to soar heavenward. Rumi uses another powerful, almost ecstatic image to convey its overwhelming power. The mountain dances nimbly like a bird. Love made Mount Sinai drunken visibly, so Moses fell and swooned immediately.
Ah, the story of Moses on Mount Sinai.
Exactly. It refers to that biblical story where Moses encounters the divine presence, and it's a moment of such overwhelming spiritual ecstasy brought about by this divine love that it causes him to literally collapse. It's a love that shakes the very foundations of reality and transforms everything it touches. It suggests a divine presence so potent it overwhelms even the strongest individuals.
Wow.
It's a love that doesn't just change us, it utterly reshapes our reality.
But alongside this incredible power, the poem also gives some pretty stark warnings. It says, "The day is wasted if it's spent in grief, consumed by burning aches without relief." And then that very direct command, "Unchain yourself, my son, escape its hold. How long will you remain a slave of gold?"
What's the trap Rumi is pointing out here? How does it relate to this powerful love we've just discussed?
Well, these lines warn against what you might call twin traps, worldly attachments on one hand and unconstructive sorrow on the other. How long will you remain a slave of gold? That's a direct challenge against materialism, isn't it? Against the endless pursuit of external wealth or possessions.
Yeah, clearly. A greedy eye is never satisfied, he says. It illustrates that these external pursuits, this endless acquisition, it just won't fill that deep void of separation that the reed flute is lamenting. He uses another beautiful metaphor, trying to fit inside a jug the sea. It's futile, right? The material things have a limited capacity for true fulfillment. They can never satisfy the soul's infinite longing.
And the grief part.
Right, dwelling in grief, consumed by burning aches without relief, that implies a kind of unproductive sorrow, a sorrow that gets stuck and prevents true spiritual progress. It keeps us chained, preventing us from opening up to that transformative love.
Okay, so these are the obstacles. But Rumi offers a solution, doesn't he? For perceiving this love and clearing these obstacles away. He says, "Love wants its tale revealed to everyone, but your heart's mirror won't reflect this sun. Don't you know why we can't perceive it here? Your mirror's face is rusty, scrape it clear." That's incredibly direct, very practical advice almost.
It really is. This is a crucial, practical lesson embedded right there in the poetry. Rumi is telling us that the heart is fundamentally a mirror. It's meant to reflect divine truth and love, to reflect this very sun of love. But, he says, it becomes rusty. It gets clouded by these worldly attachments we just talked about, by greed, conceit, unexamined sorrow, all the other desires that obscure our inner vision.
So the scraping clear.
That's the active process. It's spiritual purification, self-reflection, detachment from what doesn't truly serve us, mindful living. It's the ongoing intentional work that allows the heart to become clear enough to actually receive and reflect this profound transformative love. It's an internal polishing, really, something that you, the listener, can actively engage in throughout your life.
An internal polishing. I like that. And finally, the poem talks about needing a confidant or kindred spirit to truly share its stories. It says, "Without a kindred spirit there to hear, the storyteller's voice must disappear."
It seems like even this deep internal journey isn't meant to be entirely solitary. No, and that's a really important point. This emphasizes the profound importance of companionship on the spiritual path. The deepest truths, the most profound insights, maybe the most intense spiritual experiences, they often require a sympathetic ear, someone who understands the tongue of spiritual longing, who gets the depths of its secrets.
Yep.
The reed flute, as the symbol of the individual soul, can wail its song, sure, but its true message might be lost if there isn't a receiver tuned in, someone who resonates with that vibration. It also touches on the idea that the loved one's all, the lover's just a screen, a dead thing, while the loved one lives unseen. This emphasizes that the true focus isn't the self, the lover, but the beloved, the divine. It points towards complete surrender and devotion on this journey.
So the kindred spirit helps us hear the real message.
Exactly. Without a kindred spirit, the full story, the full depth, maybe can't be told or perhaps fully understood and integrated. It reminds us that while that inner work, the mirror polishing, is crucial, connection with others who share a similar path can really illuminate and deepen our own understanding.
Right. Okay, so bringing these powerful themes together then, we've taken a deep dive into these opening sections of Rumi's Masnavi, Book 1. We've explored that universal ache of separation symbolized by the reed flute. We've looked at the hidden secrets of the soul, veiled by our perception, and the incredible transformative power of divine love, described as this cleansing fire. It's clear Rumi isn't just writing pretty poems. He's really offering a guide to the human condition and, well, to spiritual awakening.
Absolutely. Rumi's reed flute offers us this timeless invitation, doesn't it? It asks us to recognize our own inner longing for connection, that inherent homesickness for our true origin we talked about. It challenges us really to question what truly satisfies us.
Right.
Are we just pursuing fleeting gold? Or are we seeking something more enduring, something that resonates with that deep spiritual fire? And it calls us to consider what rust might be clouding our own hearts, preventing us from reflecting that divine light. It's a call to understand that the deepest meaning often lies just beyond the veil of our everyday perception, just waiting for us to truly listen, to truly see.
So the enduring challenge Rumi puts to us then is to actively scrape that mirror clean, to ignite that fire of love within ourselves, and maybe to seek out that kindred spirit, that confidant, with whom we can truly share the song of our soul, allowing its deepest secrets to finally be heard and understood. It's about active, lifelong engagement, isn't it, with our inner landscape and our connections.
Beautifully put. And this perhaps raises an important question for you listening right now to consider. If your heart were a reed flute right at this moment, what song would it be singing? What song of longing, perhaps, or of love, or maybe of transformation? What is its deepest lament or its most fervent wish for connection and clarity?
That's an incredible thought to mull over as you go about your day. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Rumi's profound wisdom. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and definitely keep that curiosity alight.